welcome back. The Paris attacks, attacking random innocent people, once again shaking all of our sense of security. Terry Lyles is a local psychologist. We appreciate you coming in today because, you know, it hasn't been, I don't think, Terry, since maybe 9/11 that we were all shaken to the core like this. And at the time, we were vigilant, hyper aware of our surroundings. That faded with time as the memory of 9/11 faded. You said that's normal.
It is normal. Yeah, I mean, we get anesthetized to security.
Sure.
So it's very easy you get on a plane every week or every month, you know, you go to work, you travel and commute the same way. Before long, you just realize that things are normal. But this underlying terror that's out there only comes to surface when something like this that happens in Paris, and it brings it all back again.
And even though we may not have been there on site, watching the news coverage and being so immersed in it, and them being such good partners to France and vice versa, this really does strike to the heart. And you say that you know, you can process this and you can overcome it. How do we start doing that?
Well, the closer we are to the epicenter, like if we knew someone who was there or we were there, obviously that trauma is going to be deeper and take a little longer to get over. But if we weren't there and we didn't know someone, normal people walking around, you know, just doing what we do, but still now aware of what could happen, we need to process. We need to talk about it to our families, in our communities. It needs to be a conversation that continually happens because that's where the power comes in for us not to be controlled by that terror or that fear.
And I was talking to you about this before we came on. I mean, I did start over the weekend, thinking, okay, should I attend that event? Maybe we shouldn't go on that trip. Maybe I shouldn't be flying. And this is also very normal, but you said something to me before you came on. We are not powerless. You can be controlled by terror or control the terror.
That's correct.
That's crazy to think I can control the terror. Tell me how.
Well, anything that we internalize begins to melt us from the inside out.
Yes.
It's kind of like I train race car drivers, so they zip up their fire suits and they're protected inside. They're insulated but not isolated. If we isolate ourselves from fear and terror, we're exposed to it. We must insulate ourselves. So anything that we can keep outside of ourselves, we control internally, how we think, feel, believe, and what we do. So within our families, our children, our schools, communities, we need to realize, look, if you see something, say something. If it doesn't look right, it might not be. Alert the authorities. Don't just walk past like it's not my business, I don't know what's going on, because we live in a different age now that we must alert things that don't look the way they should look, because you never know if some of these people are around us. But again, instead of being controlled by that fear and that terror, which is the terrorist job, that's why it's called terrorism. They want us to be afraid. Well, you know what? We're not going to be afraid. We're going to take that back and say, look, I'm going to be vigilant. I'm going to do what I can do to control this from the inside out. I'm not going to stop doing my normal life. I'm just going to stay awake and be alert and share with people around me why we need to do that.
And I think there's a tendency in this day and age, especially, that we want to be PC, or we may not want to, be nosy to our neighbor. You're saying now is really not the time for all that?
Absolutely. I don't think it has been for 15 years. But, you know, we get into a lull of, I don't want to know what my neighbors are doing. I don't want them to know what I'm doing. But, you know, you need to know who are around you. You need to be vigilant about your surroundings within 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 miles, 100 miles. You know, and that's all about just knowing, especially with our children. They need to know as well. I mean, these thugs, these terrorists are nothing more than bullies. What we tell our children if they were being bullied? Don't let them bully you.
Right.
You know, get to the authorities. Tell someone that you're being bullied and let them know.
You have a beautiful stress recovery manual that you make available to anybody who goes to your website, terrylyles.com. We have it up on our screen right now. I appreciate you so much. Wow.
Thank you.
This interview was helpful to me.
Thank you so much, Shannon. Appreciate it.
Terry,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Jay.
All right, Shannon, thank you. And our coverage of the